Pie de limon.
Ok.
Oh,
Mira,
okay.
no tengo pay de limón, vainilla ni chocolate. El resto sí tengo.
Water.
Mora.
Gracias. Well, hey everyone.
Hello.
We are here from the beautiful outdoors at a local park, and today we want to talk about deciding to stay. Should we stay in Salinas? Should we explore and look at some other areas of the country? Should we even stay in Ecuador? Those are all questions we have to ask with all the, all the instability and things that are going on. For the most part, for us, a lot of things really haven't changed that much. Um, Take kind of the same precautions that we always did, maybe a few more now, but we need to talk about, you know, is it more beneficial to us to try to go somewhere else? And, how long we have to maybe make that decision. So one of the things that we wanted to do was take a look at some other cities and really see, like, what does it cost to live there versus here on the coast. Obviously on the coast it's going to cost us a little more. We do really enjoy the weather because when it's great, it's great. When it's bad, it's just kind of cool and cloudy. Um, and we understand that some of the other areas of the country, like in the mountains, you may have a lot of rain, landslides, mudslides, road closures, and things like that, and it can be a lot cooler. Now, for some of us, the cool weather might be great, and maybe not for others. But cost is another thing. Up in the mountains and in other parts of the country, away from the coast, it can be significantly cheaper to find housing.
Or it can be more expensive depending on how many expats is in that area.
Yeah, if it's a big expat area, the cost of living is definitely going to be higher when it comes to rents because we drive up the prices. That's just the nature of the beast. And if you don't want to necessarily be in those areas, you can find cheaper housing. So one of the drawbacks of being here on the coast in Ecuador right now is like the crime issue, and the coast seems to be a area where there's just a lot more of it. Um, it's something we've always been aware of, and something we always take precautions when it comes to our surroundings and things like that. But is it worth us leaving because of it? And that's not necessarily true in our case. And maybe it's because we haven't been directly affected by it, but also because our lifestyle doesn't expose us quite as much to those dangers. Um, we eat at home a lot. We cook a lot. We don't go out to a lot of restaurants, especially ones that are kind of just out in the open. That's just something we don't really do anyway. But those things aside, living here on the coast, it's great, especially like we said, when it comes to the weather, like the climate, the people are wonderful, food's great, and we've built a friendships here, we built community here. When we would kind of hate to leave that behind, but on the other side, we have to think about our pockets, and is it cost effective for us to stay on the coast on a limited budget?
And also, it depends on there are surrounding areas that are having more homicide and crime. So it feels like it can be closing in on where we live. So that is something to think about.
Yeah. Um, but like we're saying, that is it the most important thing? And
It is one of the
it's
important
definitely
things.
one of the more important aspects. Um, but something that we've discussed amongst ourselves a lot is, do we want to continue paying what we pay? Well, we can find cheaper housing here on the coast. It's just that maybe some of the housing that is less expensive may
It's
not
not
attractive,
as attractive.
right? As we may be able to find for the same price, like outside of Cuenca or something like that. Um,
Or outside of Riobamba,
and like Vilcabamba and Loja and
out there by
Quito and
Baños, where
yeah.
yeah.
So it's all about like where we decide to look versus the coast. Because like we said, if you're closer to the water, it's just everything's just going to cost more. That's just what it is.
Okay, so we gotta move because we have a skateboarder.
There's a skateboarder here. We're in a skate park. We'll be right back. So as we were saying, sorry. As we were saying, trying to find housing and a community that we want to live in is it's a little more difficult because we don't have a car. So any exploration we do, we're gonna take a bus, get a ride to go see some places, and that can be a hindrance. So we've kind of been waffling back and forth on the whole car thing. We'll see where that ends up. But as far as living, we're much more open to living in a place that's a little, not necessarily isolated, but maybe a little further away from the hustle and bustle. We don't really mind that at all because we do a lot of stuff by ourselves anyway. Of course, we want to be close enough to like medical services, groceries, things like that. But we don't need to necessarily be in a big town to be happy. So as far as our exploration goes, we're going to be looking at areas where we can get all the things that we need without having, too much trouble, honestly. We want to be able to have good internet. We want to have, decent cell service. We want to be able to get to the grocery store, like I said.
Get to the places that we actually need to get to, the necessities
Right.
of our everyday living.
Right, because just for us personally, we don't necessarily need like the social interaction of like daily or weekly, interactions with other expats, things or things like that. So it's that in that
But
aspect, it's a little easier for us. Now, those are things. Oh no, those are great. No, don't get me wrong. Those are great things. I'm just saying that's not something that we have like a desire for to do like on a weekly basis. Once or twice in a month. Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. But it's not a necessity for us. But now living on the coast, you get a lot more of that. You have that opportunity a lot more to kind of interact with your friends, and especially more your expat friends. We have tried to make more Ecuadorian acquaintances because it's just really helpful to have Ecuadorian friends here. I can't stress enough how great it is to have Ecuadorian friends. When you need help, it's the best thing.
So, that is our quest until we figure out where our next step will be.
Yeah.
Whether we're going to stay in Salinas or travel within Ecuador or travel abroad.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, our next video, you never know, we may be in a different area.
Yeah, you never know where we'll be. But as always, thanks for watching.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yep, and we'll be back soon. So we can't deny how much we love this view. 6 months out of the year, you can see the sunrise from here and the sunset from here. Now, this isn't that time of year, but it's gorgeous when we do get to see it. But like we were saying, views like this and areas like this come at a premium here in Ecuador.